Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode, the very last episode of 2025 Patlux Basics. Thank you all so much for joining. I hope you guys are having a great week so far. It's hard to believe that we have 2 days and we're there. This is it. Well, actually, 2 days from the time I'm recording this, but not 2 days total now. It'll be a whole day. It's crazy talk. Okay. So, link is in the show notes. If you are interested in getting some information on Patlux Basics group coaching, Black Friday sale ends on the 1st, technically the 31st. And then also the Diet Dropout assessment. If you're interested in that, it used to be called my Fix My Fat Loss assessment. Now I'm rebranding kind of everything towards my method, which is what I'm actually here to talk to you about today. But however, in this assessment, essentially what I do is you tell me where you are. I'm going to tell you what phase you're at and what your next step is for making forward progress in your health. Too many of us are just stuck and we're tired of being stuck. So this kind of gives you that next step. So either of those links are in the show notes if you're interested. Alrighty, let's talk about this. I've been dropping some hints. I've been calling things some names and some phases. You're hearing me talk a lot about the Diet Dropout Method, things like that. And I realized over the last 5 years that I've been coaching women, I have created a process, and I actually went through this process myself of how do I help women actually do what they do? Like, what is the process behind it? And yes, we're going to, we talk about macros, and yes, we talk about training, and yes, we make sure we get our movement in. And I used to talk about these basics, right? The foundational pieces, but that's just one element of so many multitude of other things that are just as important that I kind of left out. And it's like, yes, that's great that we talk about protein, but what do we have to do first, right? Well, the first thing that we have to do is this, and then we can do that. And then we can talk about the protein. Okay. And I didn't realize it until, again, I am no different than you guys, right? I have to hire people, and I actually hired a coach. She's amazing. And this was a small group setting. There were probably, I would say, on a live call for about 8 weeks, there were probably 10 to 15 of us. And what we did is I basically gave about 1,000 million things of this is how I help women, narrowed it all down, gave it a title because it's like, this is the domino piece that starts everything. And boom, I was able to reverse engineer and create a framework that it's not just throw some shit at the wall. And even though it wasn't before, there was still a process. There was never a process that my clients could be like, okay, I'm in here in this process. Okay, I'm here in this. Now I know where I am, and here's my roadmap, right? I didn't have that necessarily. So now we have that, which is wonderful because I can really have my clients not just know where they're at, but also see where they've been when they feel stuck. They can see where they're going, what they have to look forward to. And so this is actually, Fat Loss Basics is my group coaching program. That's what I offer. That is what I help women with. And within that, we go through the Diet Dropout Method. And we have to understand that everything that we do is a system or a process, right? Balancing our checkbooks, our systems. Even meal planning is a form of a system. Stop, drop, and roll is a form of a system. Like all these cool things that we don't even think are systems. They are systems or frameworks that we start here and we end here and we get this X result, right? So let's start out this way. This is kind of how I began trying to figure out, what do I actually call this thing, or what am I actually helping women do? And so many times the women that come to me use language like, okay, it's a fresh start. Okay, I got to start over. Okay, I'm restarting Monday. This time it's going to be different. Okay, I am not going to do the all or nothing. I got this. Whatever, right? This is the pattern that my client lives in currently. This might sound like you. I'll start Monday. I'll start after, right? I'll start after vacation, after baseball starts, after school starts, once school gets out. I'll start when life gets busy or slows down. Opposite of busy. I'll start when life slows down a little bit. I'll start once I start my new job. I'll start, I don't know. after my kids go to college. I just don't have enough time right now. It's just, there's not time right now. It's just too chaotic. Okay. How many Monday restarts have you had? I could safely say, I don't know, probably 1,000. And that's being probably on the low end of life and being not very generous with how many times I restarted. And then how many times after the Monday restart was the I'll start after the insert whatever thing that you're going to start after. Right? How many times have you felt like you have just spun your wheels? You're doing all the things and you still end up right back where you started. This, the Diet Dropout Method, this is for you. This is your pattern. Okay? And it's not about the fact that you have a problem, like there's nothing wrong with you. It's a fact there's a multitude of reasons why we end up in this cycle, right? But it's partially because we don't have a proper strategy and a proper framework to move you through. So again, you don't just get to see where you are or what you're failing at or what you're not doing great at, but like, where do we come from? Let's look at where we're headed. Why do we have to connect these pieces? Why does this have to make sense? Sometimes our brain needs to close the loop. And once you can start to see, oh, this is the path I need to go down, even if it's hard and even if it's difficult, you can kind of accept it for what it is. Like, okay, I'm not there yet, but I know I'm headed in that direction. I'm okay with that. Right? And so now I'm going to introduce to you this framework that breaks this cycle. Okay? Remember this, that you are becoming the woman who is not restarting. You are done restarting. You are not restarting anymore. Okay? So let's, excuse me. Let's talk about why, the other things haven't worked necessarily, right? Most of us have tried meal planning. We did the cleanses. We did the no carb, the no sugar, the no fun shit, right? All of the low carb, no carb, can't do that, say no to everything. You have tracked every fucking bite you put in your mouth. You've done all of the meal prepping, okay? And you're just like, I'm at a point where I'm just ready to take the Tupperware and fucking put it in the garbage. I'm done. And maybe it worked. Maybe it worked. Maybe it worked. Maybe it worked for a week. Maybe it worked for a month. Maybe even for a few fucking months. But then what happened, right? Life happened. Work got busy. Kids got sick. Kids had, something come up at school or a sporting event thing, right? Holidays. Hello, holidays, right? Maybe you went on vacation and then all of a sudden that you realize, well, fuck, I just lost all my progress. I just lost it all. What am I thinking? What was I doing? And now you feel like you are right back where you started or worse. You gained maybe more weight than you lost, or you're right back at I lost those 5 pounds. I'm back up with those 5 pounds, right? So diets work for sure because, diets are great because that's what gets you to calorie deficit, regardless of the kind of diet you choose, as long as it's an actual diet and putting you in a calorie deficit, right? But they stop working once life gets real, once life starts to life, okay? And you've been using these strategies that only work in these amazing, beautiful, part the cloud, sunshine shines through type of scenarios and conditions and moments in your life. And life is never like that. You are not prepared for the time where life hits you fat out in the face and knocks you the fuck down. Okay? I created this because this is what I was already teaching. It just wasn't packaged as something. Like this is what I was doing, but I didn't even realize. And even doing this as a coach, this is going to allow me to even coach better. This is going to allow my clients to feel even more successful because they're going to be able to see their path. Okay. So, and this is why, even as a coach, you hire coaches to help you do better, to show you different things, to show you different ways. Okay. But I was, tired of living in this world of where I'm like, okay, this seems to be the same problem I had, same problem all these other women had. The restart cycle. The I'll start over again. It'll be perfect this time. The all or nothing, the on or off switch is on or off. The good or bad. The I'm all in, I'm all out. Okay? And I want you to understand that the diet dropout method is not a diet. It is a framework that takes you from restarting every fucking Monday to building a life that fat loss doesn't have to be a constant battle. So again, this is not a diet. This is not a meal plan. This is not rules and restrictions. It is an actual process that takes you from point A to point B to point C, and not because you're starting over or you needed a backup plan, but because this is the actual path it takes. My process specifically, and I'm going to go through each of these briefly, have 5 different phases, and they build on top of each other, just like most frameworks, just like you do addition and then subtraction and then multiplication and then division and then algebra and then this and da, right? And at the core piece of this method is you. This is all about you. The you that you have neglected for years. The you that you have tried to be something or be someone different, but it never felt right. We are honoring you at the core of this framework because without you, it doesn't even matter anyway, right? So our identity is the center of who we are. It's what we think. It's what we feel. It's what we believe. And a lot of the times we try to change what we are and who we are without changing that piece of our identity. And a lot of time there has to be a belief that we are already the person on the other side of that before we even become her. Because that's how you get to being her. What would my 20-pound loss Sarah do? How would my emotionally regulated Sarah act right now? How would she react to this or respond to this? How would she act in this moment? It doesn't mean I'd get it right every time, but it does mean, okay, I'm headed in that direction. I'm at least thinking about her. I'm at least acknowledging that she exists. Okay. So the reality is that you cannot out-discipline a bad strategy, and you cannot sustain results if you don't change who you believe yourself to be. It just can't happen. It just can't happen. Okay. So let's break down the 5 different phases. This is not a list of things. This is not step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. This is a flow. This is a build upon. And it doesn't mean that we don't weave in and out of these phases sometimes because it's like, oh man, this thing came back up. Oh, we didn't even have to talk about that originally. Now we're going to go back to it. We're going to dabble here for a little bit again because now it's surfacing. Because again, as you change and evolve, guess what's going to change? Things that come up that never came up before, but now they're coming up. You got to figure it out. So there's some ebb and flow into this process. However, this is the process. So with your identity being the core piece, it is literally the center. None of this changes unless that changes, okay? The first phase that we go through is awareness. Before you can do anything, before you can change anything, you actually have to know what's going on. And this is a hard, probably maybe the hardest phase for people because that actually means you're holding up a mirror. You have to look at yourself and say, what the fuck piece do I have in this? What role do I play in what's going on right now? How does it look? What is my part here? Okay. We have to see what's going on. And a lot of times during this phase, I hear a lot of language like, I am statements, right? I'm an emotional eater. I don't have any discipline, or I'm not disciplined, whatever, right? I don't have enough willpower. I need more willpower. I'm just not motivated right now, right? I'm just not a morning person. I'm just not XYZ. Whatever you want to put in there. These are a lot of the I am statements. But a lot of these I am statements are not awareness. They are judgment. Okay? Being able to see what you're doing without making it mean something about you That is awareness. I'm going to repeat that. Being able to see what you're doing without making it mean something about you is awareness. You can look at something and be like, wow, I emotionally eat a lot. I wonder why. Right? It's noticing that you do hit the fuck it button. Sorry if y'all hear some howling in the background. I don't know if the microphone's actually picking it up, but we are having like 50, 60 mile an hour gusty winds here in Michigan today with random snow. We got like 1.5 inches of rain and now we're getting snow and wind. It's wild. They're calling it a bomb cyclone. I don't know. Anyways, I think that's just a term to scare people, but who knows? Okay. So when you hit the fuck it button, and instead of going, man, I hit the fuck it button, I'm just a person that hits a fuck it button. By Thursday, fuck it. Why do I do that? Why do I do this? Right? It's understanding that I don't have to be all in or all out. I don't have to be the all or nothing person. I could be something different than that. I don't have to like getting up in the mornings, but I can get up in the mornings to go to the gym, even though I don't want to. I can still be that person if I wanted to be. I just don't want to because I can claim that I'm not a morning person statement. Done. Right? During this process, we see stuff that you don't even realize that's going on. And the bottom line is that you can't change what you don't know. You can't change what you can't see. And you're really not going to be able to see it on your own. In fact, this is the second time, it's kind of odd, that I had somebody say, you can't see the label from inside the bottle. Now, I've only ever heard that one time, and now I heard it again. And what that means is you're too close. You're not going to be able to see these things to become more aware about them because you're too close, right? And oftentimes, it's partially because nobody taught you what to be looking for. So this is the phase awareness where you actually wake up, eyes are wide open to what's going on behind the scenes. Okay. And it's not because you're just not disciplined or you don't have enough willpower or you're just not a whatever kind of person. There's deeper here. It's way deeper here. All right. Phase 2 is foundations. So now that we've seen these patterns, now we can start building the basics, the foundations that actually support fat loss. So we're not talking about the sexy black underwear. We're not talking about the hacks of the red light therapy, right? Not the do this one thing and you're going to lose 10 pounds and have shredded abs, right? This is the boring ass, unsexy fucking foundations. These are the non-negotiables, right? Within them, they stay pretty much the same as they were. So we're focusing on things like water, protein, fiber, sleep, stress, movement, learning what balanced meals are. How do we actually manage our energy? Where are we putting our energy to? Right? And a lot of women actually skip this phase because it feels a little bit boring. And that's the problem. Right? We want to jump right into the rules. Give me the exact macros. I need the plan here to here. Let's go. And you're not ready for that. You have not built a foundation. And if the foundations were easy, you wouldn't fucking need help. You wouldn't be overweight. You wouldn't be on medication. You wouldn't be restarting every fucking Monday. Hi, welcome to my old world. So this is where we learn how to stabilize what we have going on. We learn about our hunger. We understand our cravings. We learn about the energy. We really tackle food noise in this phase, like really hardcore, right? Because you cannot build something on a shit ass foundation. And you cannot sustain fat loss without a foundation built. It's just not going to happen. Okay. All right. Phase 3, maybe my all-time favorite phase, because this is where you get to actually take all of these tools that we start learning about and put them into practice. Okay. So phase 3 is the application or skill building process. And honestly, if you even get through foundations, not having help, this is where a lot of women fall apart because I know I need to eat more protein. I know I need to move my body. I know I need to drink more water. I know I need more fiber. So you know what to do. You have the information, but you don't know how to apply it to your life. Because again, back to the original piece is you try to do this when everything is perfect and hunky-dory and amazing. But what happens when you're exhausted? When you didn't meal prep? When it's Friday night and you're just fucking done? When the kids are losing their minds and you have to tell them, don't make me pull this car over. Right? Or there's harsh deadlines at work and it's fucking chaotic. Phase 3 is where we teach you how to think on your feet. We understand what are our messy minimums. What is my next best choice? How do I navigate going out to restaurants? How do I navigate weekends or parties, vacations? All the real life shit that is essentially what takes you down by Thursday afternoon. So that you have to restart again on Friday. Right? This is why I'm so anti-fucking diet culture, because it's like, cool, Octavia, good job. You sent all my food to me in a cool little box with my cute little fuelings. But did you actually teach me how to eat when I'm upset or why I eat when I'm upset? Do I have to actually say no every single time I go out because I can't eat a fueling while I'm out? Or I don't want to eat that in front of people because I'm afraid of being judged, which if you're afraid of being judged about what you're eating, that's a problem that we're going to have to fix in the awareness piece. Right? Diet culture gives you information, but nobody teaches you how to apply shit when life is lifing. And this is where we bridge the gap from knowing what to do and fucking executing it. Okay? So, phase 4 then comes in that once you've learned how we are applying these, basics in crazy times, in chaotic times, we build systems that make it easy to be automatic. This does not mean that they're rigid. This does not mean that they're perfect. It just means that they're on autopilot. We've lived on autopilot for so long doing things that do not serve us. We're changing that now. We're going to live on autopilot that at the bare minimum, we're going to have some anchors, right? We're going to have some routines. We're going to learn about things that actually serve our body and put those bad boys on autopilot instead, right? The systems that prevent you from thinking about food 447 times in a day or about your lunch, okay? Systems don't break as long as they are made for you. And while everybody goes through this process, nobody's system looks identical. Nobody's story is the same. That's not how this works, okay? And then phase 5 is the last one. This is what I call, lifestyle integration, or where we've mastered all of these pieces and where everything just comes together. You're no longer trying to lose the fat. You're just living in a way that supports how you think and feel about your body and your fat loss, right? We're not restarting every Monday because there's nothing to stop. So we're not restarting. Can't restart something you never quit, right? Where we're not spiraling after vacation because you stayed anchored, where you're not panicking when life gets fucking hard because you know how to adjust and not just abandon shit. Hit the fuck it button, right? This is where you become the woman who doesn't need a diet anymore because the way you eat, move, and think and feel about who you are is just who the fuck you are. I always say this. This becomes where it is not something you do. It is who you are. And again, that piece that holds it all together is your identity. Every phase, you're going to change. This isn't just a new phase or new habits or a new tool or a new cool thing, right? You are changing literally the very cells in your body, in your identity, every single phase. Right? And you can follow all these rules you want to and still feel like a woman who can't do it, who's not successful. But when you change who you are, when you change the woman that you become, the woman that no longer restarts, who stays anchored and who knows how to make the best next choice, who doesn't literally hit the fuck it button every time life goes sideways, that is when fat loss stops becoming a fight and starts becoming quite easy. So what does this look like, right? How do we do this? Well, I'm going to tell you this right now. We move through these phases together. We talk about them. We're not rushing. We're not skipping shit. We're not jumping to phase 5 when we're still in phase 2 or in phase 3. Okay. That's not how this is. This is not a 12-week, here's your fucking PDF. Good luck. It's a process. Some women get through it a lot faster than others. I've had clients that have been quite successful in a year to 18 months. I have other clients who I've had for 4 years. And it's not about the fact that that woman isn't making progress or she doesn't know what to do. I think some of you underestimate how long this process can actually take when you have had literally 20, 30, 40 years of these patterns that you don't even know you have. Most of you don't even know. All right. So again, you can take the diet cycle assessment if you want to. We can talk about what phase you're in and what that might look like for you if you're interested in joining Fat Loss Basics and going through the actual diet dropout method. But the diet cycle assessment is going to tell me some information. It's going to show you where am I stuck and what is my next step, right? This isn't generic cookie cutter fucking advice. Not everybody gets the same advice. I've done like 30 of these so far, and including like the Fix My Fat Loss assessment, which by the way, this assessment is far better. So just in case you ever taken that one already, this is better. It's already better. And it's not that that was a bad one. It's just, this is definitely more aligned with what I do and how I do it. Okay. But this is just giving you clarity on what you need and how you proceed forward. That's it. And it's also like free. You just click the link and fill out the assessment and away we go. Okay. So you can become the woman who stops restarting when you're ready to become her, right? You are going to be a woman that builds foundation, that learns skills, that creates systems. Most importantly, that embodies an entirely different woman. I am not who I was 10 years ago. I'm also not who I was 2 years ago. And in 2 years, I'm not going to be who I am today. I'm kind of excited to see her. Because 2025 has been a year. It's been a hard year for me in many ways. Right? But once you start becoming these things and being the woman who builds this way, that is how fat loss becomes sustainable for you. That is how you stop the cycle of restarting a diet every single Monday. Links in the show notes, ladies. I'll see you in there, and I'll see you in 2026.